Okay, so we're going to do number 7, reverse integer. So we're given an integer, and we want to reverse its digits. And they're telling us that it's going to be a 32-bit signed integer. So that's going to be a little bit of a problem with Python, because Python doesn't have the integer data type with Python doesn't have boundaries like that normally. So we sort of eventually will have to create them ourselves. But that's not where I start. I'm just going to start with the reversing part. Just get that right and see what breaks. So I write .reverse on this string, hoping that that is a method that exists on string. But that is not something that exists on string. So I'm going to go Google how you actually reverse a string in Python. Okay, so it turns out that you want to use this notation here. You start at 0, you stop at the end of the string, and you use a step size of -1. So that's basically you're stepping backwards through the string when you use that notation. I just got an error here. Found out that this does not work at all when you get a negative integer. Convert a negative integer to a string, it starts out with a minus sign. Then when you reverse it, you end up with the minus sign at the end, and that's not a valid integer. So I'm thinking about the constraints again, trying to convince myself that you can actually get a negative number, and that's really the problem that we're experiencing here. It definitely is. So my solution is going to be first to check if the number is negative. And depending on whether it's negative, I'm just going to create this other number that's going to be either 1 or -1. I'm going to multiply that by this reversed number so that at the end it's the correct sign, but the integer that we actually do the reversing on is just going to be the absolute value. So we get rid of the sign and then we put it back, basically. Okay, so I'm hopeful that I have a solution here, but as expected, we are going to run up against that integer boundary problem, the 32-bit integer range problem. And given that they've spelled out the constraints for us so nicely, I figure I could just try using a couple if statements to code that in. Running the code again, and I'm a little bit confused because suddenly the very simple test case is not working anymore, even though the code that I've just written shouldn't really be affecting a number as small as 123. But even when I wrote the 2-31, I was a little bit suspicious because, well, I almost never use powers in Python. So I thought it might be reasonable that I got that wrong. So I googled it and found out that yes, in fact, I had written the wrong operator to do exponentiation in Python. Once I got the right operator, it turns out that this is all you needed to get the answer right. And it ran pretty fast too, apparently. Faster than 88% of Python 3 solutions. Well, that's the end of the video. Hope you enjoyed. Thanks for watching. See you next time.